everybody, Christine McDaniel here with the Co-Living Code Show, and I'm very excited right now. We have Jeff. He's actually over in Cambodia, and he has been in the co-living game for longer than a lot of us, which is really exciting. He's going to tell us his whole story and how he got started. And what's really cool is he actually, and he'll go into it, you know, he actually has an amazing Medium blog post about how he was a CTO and then he was scrubbing toilets. So he'll talk about that and how he became a digital nomad, traveled the world, and then landed in Cambodia with AngkorHUB, co-working and co-living. And he started the concept, 2015, but I know you'll talk about when you actually started formulating the idea was 2013, right, Jeff?
Yeah, that's correct, yes.
Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and tell our guests all about how you got started.
All right, sure. Okay, so I'll try to do the short version. So basically, like many people, I was fed up with my work. And I was a Linux system administrator, not CTO at this stage, but and basically as bought a backpack and started to travel and I wanted to become. I didn't know the term digital nomad, but I wanted to be location independent because I knew with like technologies and internet and web development and many things, I'm like full stack engineer also, so I can code, not just administrating systems. So I was able to find small missions and small projects. So this is what I was looking for while traveling. And also when I travel, I realized that I was having a lot of struggles, like many people. Like when you arrive in a new city, you need to find who's the best carrier. Do you have Wi-Fi at the airport? And then also to find a place to work or get a Skype call or just even connect. And sometimes you don't even, you just sit down having your cake and your coffee and then the Wi-Fi is not working or things like that. So that's like the idea started to to be more present in my mind, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. So I kept on traveling. And eventually, but long story short, I arrived in Cambodia. I was not planning to go. I didn't know anything about Cambodia, really bad in history and geography. I feel really bad about it today. But anyway, so I was on the beach in Siem, south of Cambodia. And I had the idea to start a co-working space on the beach because this is the image, like the romanticized image about digital nomads that you used to see. Like it's always on the beach with a cocktail and not working too much. But I realized that was not really the truth because you cannot code for like 8 hours straight in a setup like this with your neck with the laptop on the lap. It's not really possible. Well, I knew it, but now I had the proof. So I decided to start a co-working space by the beach. And then I started to dig. I wanted to make like an earthship, like eco-friendly building. And then also give fair wages because the wages are very, very low in Cambodia. It's like a really, it's a developing country, but they have a lot to do and to catch up, especially for their working conditions. So I started to be really interested into like the social part of it, like as a social enterprise. So the first idea AngkorHUB was was supposed to be in near the beach, but then I came to Siem, where is the famous Angkor Wat temple complex, to work on my business plan and visit a little bit. And while I was here, I realized that there's a big need for a co-working space. There were none, and that's like you had frequent power outage, like problem with internet. So each time I was working on the business plan, like when there's like a power cut, I realized, oh wow, that's just validating my idea. There's a need for a co-working space here. And it was the second poorest province of Cambodia. So the social side of it, it was more than interesting to do it in Siem Reap. And then so I moved the idea to do it in Siem Reap, like really far from the beach. And I have no regrets about it today.
I love that. And then you're originally from Montreal, correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's why I have a thick French accent.
Yeah, no, it's a great accent. That's great.
Thank
so you've
you.
been there in Siem Reap since 2000. When did you get there? What year?
Yeah, that was September 2013 when I arrived in Siem Reap. Yes.
Nice. And then you guys officially opened in 2015?
No, the co-working space, it was March 2014 because I was crowdfunding to be able to start the space because by the time I have not a lot of savings left because I was traveling for way more than 3 months that I was originally planning.
Nice.
So if we want to jump to the co-living part, it was not the first year, but in 2015 when we were looking for a new location. We were looking for a place where we can do like food and beverages and having rooms. But initially the rooms was mostly like for me and a friend who helped me to set it up, like physically painting the place and like organizing everything. And I realized, wow, that's like a really good opportunity to live here near the co-working space. And then I started to think about the problems that I was having when I was traveling. Of course, today you have Uber or Grab in Asia, but when you arrive at the airport in a foreign country, you kind of have a stress getting installed and like you don't know what to do or whatever. So we started to think, should maybe not just having the rooms, but having a full package solution that is all inclusive, like with co-working, the food, we do airport pickup, give a SIM card to our guests. So we are fully operational, like 25 minutes from getting outside the airport. So this idea emerged very, very quickly by having the room upstairs, the co-working space.
No, and Jeff, that was the part that got me so excited when I saw, you filled out information to come on the show because you're the only other co-living concept that I'm aware of right now that includes everything like we do, the food, the laundry, yes. And, other friends of mine that have co-living spaces, they're like, oh my gosh, how do you do the food and how do you, because, it's more moving parts, right? Which I'm sure you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I think people are appreciative of like, they get into a foreign country, just like you said, they get to the airport. That's happened to me where it's like, oh my gosh, my phone's not working. How do I switch a SIM? How do I get the SIM card? How do I get transportation? Which one? So that you guys do all that. So they just pay like a monthly rate or like a weekly? Yes. Okay, monthly.
Well, we have both. We have weekly and monthly rates. Initially, we had like nightly rate, but I quickly removed that because if we talk about business-wise, it was becoming a problem because people, they like, I think automatically, because it's a new service, they will check the price per night in the picture, and then they go on Airbnb or booking.com and they're comparing side by side with the pictures and the price at the bottom. But it's not the right way to compare the offer. So, and also it's hard to create a community for the co-living part if you do nightly stays. So that's why we put like weekly minimum. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Nope. And that's feedback across the board. That's what we've all kind of figured out. You're right. It's hard to build community, if they're just staying for a night or two.
Yes.
And then how many rooms do you guys have?
That will be a bit shy. We only have 3 rooms, 2 private rooms and 1 dorm, like a mixed rooms with 4 beds. So it's an interesting experiment.
So you guys can only have about 5 people at a time, or how many people?
6 people at a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's similar to our concept too. Is 5 people total. So, and it still works, right? Actually, you really get to know each other when it's less people, right?
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm.
But then your co-working, do you guys open up the co-working to more people?
Yes, no? Definitely. The co-working space is open to the public. So we, during high season, because it's really seasonal here, we have about, at lunchtime, we're about 15 people around the table normally. Yes.
Oh, nice. So, okay.
Yeah. Yes, we have a communal family style lunch. And this is very popular because, first for the people like external, just using the co-working space, it's only $2 to join. So that's quite cheap. And then this is where you really like bond with people and communicate and what you're working on, where you travel next or things like that. And what you're doing tonight, and people, they go have dinner together, but that's the break time. This is where people are not, with their earbuds and working on their computer.
Yeah. So $2 per day to work at the co-working space?
No, it's $5, and to join for lunch it's $2.
Oh, yes. That's awesome. Gosh, yes. That's great.
That's great, but I'm discovering different things because there's ups and downs. It's a really affordable destination, Siem Reap. So there's a lot of competition as well. It's like seasonal. What I was saying is like living from tourism. So for example, for the accommodation, you have a lot of guest houses and hotels. So it's very cheap. So it's the race to the bottom. And it's a race that if you want to offer something different, it's really hard to, not to win, but just to, we cannot be in the same race and in the same competition. Because like we don't, like I was saying earlier, we don't offer the same service. So it's the same for co-working. Many people, digital nomads often, some people, they paint. I was listening to one of your guests a little bit earlier. It referred to say entrepreneur lifestyle. Often digital nomads, not everyone, like of course, like, but some of the digital nomads, they want to save money. They're like into life hacking. So they will not pay for a co-working space. They avoid, and even in forums, they talk about it. So let's go to a cafe. It's all about hacking to save a few dollars, but having a $1,000 iPhone.
Yeah.
but so that's not exactly the perfect crowd. Not saying digital nomads because this is what we cater for. Like most of our guests are digital nomads, but I mean, some of them, they will not want to pay. And as we are not a super famous destination, there's the number of people who actually can come into the co-working space is limited, like business-wise. I'm talking about traffic. So like even if it's $5, it sounds very cheap. Like if you're from an American point of view, when in Southeast Asia, they're like, oh yeah, but there's cafes now. They start to pop up in town. There's two already that they do coffee in office. That there's no day pass. So you go there, you can stay with your laptop, have one coffee every 3-4 hours, and they fill up your glass of water. But of course, there's no community, there's no exchange, there's no communal lunch. So if you want to focus for like 2 or 3 hours and you're leaving the day after, that's probably a better fit. But for us, it's better if you stay a few days because you can create a bond with other members from the community.
No, that makes a perfect sense. And then what would you say is your favorite part overall of like running both the co-working, co-living space?
Yes. Well, of course, like lunchtime, like the working time, lunchtime, and when there's like exchange between members. And one time I remember, like in particular, we were like, everyone from the co-living, we were like outside having food, like a German restaurant and having a beer. And I was stressing out because there's a guest who was landing and we need to organize, like the pickup was organized, but I need to go, and he was coming for the dorm. So he needs to go, I needed to go to welcome him at the space because no, we don't have a reception desk or anything. So I sent a message, like he sent me a message on WhatsApp when he landed. It's like, I'm there, blah, blah. And I'm like, hey, we're in a German restaurant. You want to join us? I will just explain the driver to bring you to join us. He's like, yeah, sure. I love German food. So we have done that. And we're like, not tipsy, but we're having fun. And he arrived and joined, and like we had like fun, like 1 or 2 hours exchanging stories, knowing each other, everyone. Like so, there's like a really good vibe that was there, like a really community feeling. So when we arrive at the space later on, all together, open the door of the dorm, even if it's like a bit modest. He's like very, very happy because you're into discussions, you're already friends, like the morning you will have breakfast like together or whatever, and we will share the same workspace. So this vibe, this feeling that, you have this vibe over any features or amenities, it's very, for me, as a businessman, of course, it's super satisfying. It's very interesting to see. And also you, as a human, as a member, and as somebody sharing the co-living space as well, it's just amazing. So this vibe that we have between people, that's over, it's not just a transaction, it's not just amenities, it's not just like really good Wi-Fi, it's really having those human interactions.
Oh, I love that. And Jeff, that was my next question. So do you live in your concept? Do you live on site?
That's complicated. Like I would say temporarily for like 3 years, yes, on and off. During low season, I would say like, because I love living here, because we're like directly in the center of the town. So we would just like 1 minute walk from most restaurants. So I love being here after working, or in the morning, I just go down the stairs and like, and order my breakfast, and that's happy life, happy days.
So you live there and you work there each day,
Yeah,
or do you work from
yeah.
other locations?
No. It's every day at the same place.
Okay, got it.
So I built something that's preventing me from being location independent for now. So that's
I
that's
know,
my
right?
that's my personal challenge. So I'm like talking with people like, oh, I go to Bali next, whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, I love Ubud. I go this place. I really want to go. And like people sending me message, hey, I'm there when you're coming over, or whatever. Like it's hard to move. But now I start to like my mission is to work remotely for at least 1 week per month. So during a high season, I can do it. That's possible. During low season, well, I have more time, but less budget. So,
Yeah.
but there's different things in the pipeline that will enable me to do it. Definitely, yeah.
Nice. No, I know we all have that same answer, right? Because you're literally living in your business.
Yes. Yeah. And that's really convenient at the beginning. Really
I know,
convenient.
right? It's super
Yeah.
convenient. Yeah, because you'd be there anyways all the time. But then there
Yeah.
comes a
But
point where it's like, it's so, yeah, it's very unique. I mean, so I have an office. My office is actually, I work at a WeWork in only right down the street from my house. I have a membership here. So I'm here working from a co-working space, not from my home's co-working space, just to give a little bit of separation.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm right down the street, so it works. And so what would be the average stay? I mean, I know you do weekly, but what's the average stay of your guests? Is it a couple weeks? Is it a month?
I would say like it's between 1 and 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
But yeah, it's either like 2 weeks or like a month, because a month is like what is the limitation of the tourist visa unless you renew it. So that's a really popular choice as well. But the problem is because people want to try before. So most of the time what's happening is like they book a week and they will renew. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. If you have availability, if you don't book, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so let's talk about visa, because I know that you guys have, so it's Nomad Visa is like your new project, right? So let's talk about that, and mainly because we have a resident here who's Canadian, and poor thing, literally he had to, his 6, I think he had a 6-month,
Oh, okay.
It's got 6 months. This has happened multiple times already. I feel so bad, where they come down, live with us, and they have to leave. So let's talk about that, because it's going to be interesting to try to figure out, a way where people could be global citizens somehow. I mean, I don't know how that's going to work, but yeah, let's talk about that project and how long you've been working on it.
Okay. Well, it's not it's not as advanced as you would like it to be. So basically, it was an opportunity. Of course, like the domain name and the name Nomad Visa is very appealing, and so we don't have actually any agreements with any governments. At this stage, it's mostly like lobbying, is talking. Well, it sounds like a big, not lobbying. I'm in conversations with few governments and few agencies of government that I ask questions just to clarify the situation for digital nomads. And basically what we want to do is to create a community that we will have numbers. So we'll have details about each countries and the possibilities, and also having a community and numbers backing us and when we speak with an agency, to be like a government agency, to be able to tell them like, okay, this is the average like income of digital nomads and the type of travelers, what's the average time that they will stay, and just give them some demographics. So at this stage, it's only that. It's more like building a community, so we don't have any leverage or power to create a real visa, so to speak.
Yeah, but no, that's still a great starting point, though, right? Because it's all the data that you guys need to pull to figure out, like, these digital nomads, they stay in the country for this long and they work and, they bring this income to the economy. Just to have all those numbers, because you're right, everybody's just kind of jumping around and figuring out, it's funny when you ask them, oh, well, where's home? And they're like, well, I don't really have, because they're jumping.
Where my laptop is.
yeah, exactly, where my laptop is. Because they just jump so frequently. Or
Yeah.
I'll
Also,
ask them,
yeah.
where are you from? And they're just like, oh, you know, it's just like, cause they're just traveling for years and years. So yeah, that's interesting. So just getting that data, you know, starting the conversations, but yeah, I mean, obviously it's a big undertaking to try to figure
Yeah.
out, but even the work visa part, right? Because that's probably
Yes.
where there's a lot of confusion also. So you're
I
saying
think so. Yes.
30-day in Cambodia, you can only usually come in on a 30-day travel visa?
Oh, that's a good question. Cambodia, I know well. Cambodia, it's kind of flexible. It used to be too flexible. Now they put it more strict a little bit. So when you arrive at the airport, a visa on arrival, you can choose directly what the so-called business visa, which is a normal visa, but some people call business visa. It doesn't let you the right to do business, but it let you the right to take action towards creating a business or having a work permit, for example, or applying for another type of visa that is more long-term. So like a popular arrangement that you can do is you arrive, you take a business visa, and when you renew, you ask a job seeker visa. Job seeker visa, it's the 6 months multiple entry and costs like I think $160. So that's like really easy going. So for 6 months, it's easy. But then if you don't find a job, because let's say you're a digital nomad, you will need to exit the country and you can come back later and ask another 30 days. This can be more strict. So technically you can ask many times about the job seeker visa, but I heard that some people, they do it over and over, but it's kind of a new process. So, and then you can also create a business, which is like, for Cambodia, it's easy. You pay basically about $500 and it's all sorted. And you have your business based in Cambodia. So you might like invoice or not using your Cambodian business, but that's a way to do it legally. I know, like for example, Thailand, it's really famous for digital nomads, especially Chiang Mai. So there's a restriction that is 60 days. And people they do a border run. But what's happening, and some people they get like denied entry sometimes, and also they limit the number of entry by land per year is limited to 2 because they want to screen the one that can afford to travel by air. So they want to have a tourist which like can afford to stay in the country. But now it's getting more on the table, the topics about digital nomads. So like last year they had a forum discussion in the Chiang Mai region about sorry, not last year, a few months ago. But for now, there's not enough numbers about digital nomads, and so they're still targeting mostly like startups, and that will bring investors, etc. So for me, like from the nomad visa side, I was talking with some people that they were attending the discussion, and the angle was what I said is, these startups, they need who they will hire is freelancers, is digital nomads. The SEO guy or the developer, they will not always have employees. They will use freelancing, like a contract. So for that, digital nomads is very important that we could be represented, I think. So, but having the numbers will help both discussions, for sure.
Most definitely. And then your other project is Nomad Rooms also.
Yes.
Yeah. What is that?
Yeah, that's now, to be honest, it's mostly like a landing page, but the project itself, it's written down. So basically the concept that I have with the room. So, okay, to your listeners, I would love collaboration. Okay, so if you like the idea, please contact me. So basically, it's to have the rooms that we have, the concept that we do airport pickups and cards, and basically a welcome kit is to do a kind of Zen rooms, but for digital nomads. So I'm giving the big chunks. This is the project. So I think it's a great idea. I love it. So basically, it's to have a brand like Zen Rooms or Oyo Rooms that you can be in a mom and pop like guest house that they have a branding. So you can have a team room with a welcome kit with your SIM card and make sure this room have really good internet and organize the pickup at the airport and having a package solution that having a standard in multiple countries. So that's the idea behind Nomad Rooms, basically.
Oh my God, I love that. Because it's kind of like taking the Airbnb concept, but it's, it's standardizing it
Yes,
for a digital nomad. Because you're right, they need the Wi-Fi, they might need a desk in the room.
yes,
So just you would have that standardized, and then anybody can have that, use that in their guest room of their house. And then
that's correct. Yeah.
your site would list all these locations.
Yes, that's correct. Well, not at this stage, but
Yeah, in the
in the
future. Yeah.
pipeline. It's in the pipeline. But like it's hard, like as a having a like one story in Siem Reap to unfold many countries without investment. So basically, so I'm giving you like the tip of the iceberg. So that's the concept as a Twitter pitch. That's the concept. But there's more to it, obviously, because there's like different players that may react. I think it's Zen Rooms or Oyo Rooms. They have like /business now, so they want to target more like business travelers. But there's like few elements that they're missing. So there's still, I think, a place for another player.
Nice. And then,
Yeah.
of course, I mean, that's your background is tech. So are you still heavily involved in any of the tech, that runs your current concept? Like, what's like your day-to-day like?
Definitely. My day-to-day is not 100% AngkorHUB. It used to be. Now is I have a company called Geeko, and we are building softwares and solutions, also like chatbots and marketing automation. We're having different products. So this is what I'm working on mostly day-to-day, like probably half, I would say.
Nice. And then for powering your own concepts, like what software components do you guys use for like the booking and the management and the core, like the messaging?
That's a good question. So for now, I'm on the cheap Charlie side. So because we don't charge much, and during low season, having fixed costs, that can be a problem for us. So we are using WooCommerce with WordPress and WooCommerce accommodation booking. So that's working, not so bad, but the calendar part on the website could be greatly improved. So I think having the right software and solution can affect your sales. So now I have the feeling that the calendar on our side is like, it's a bottleneck for bookings because it's not so intuitive. So, but to manage itself, but manage the room. So this plugin is connected with Google Calendar, so there's no overlap. There's a resources like the number of rooms, everything is done. And I want to say, to answer your question and like expand the concept. So what we're doing earlier, I was mentioning that in Siem Reap there's like a more accommodation rates to the bottom and a lot of rooms. So what we're doing now, we start to have rooms that they are not our rooms, that they are in different premises. So we start to do that, and we will list them on the site. And soon enough, the current solution to manage our rooms will not be enough.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And then do you guys list on Airbnb also? No,
we don't. That's a torture because I'm masochist. I believe in. I'm stubborn, but for me, of course, in low season, it will be amazing to be on Airbnb because we will have people in the rooms and like make some cash flow with that. But I refuse to list there because on Airbnb, it's more like short term and more, how can I say? It's less about the community, right?
Oh, yeah. About probably, like you said, the price, they're probably comparing just all the pricing.
Yeah, and like the perks and everything. And already sometime when we're compared to Airbnb, if we answer on a post in a group on Facebook or something, and people they say, "Oh wow, $400 per month for all inclusive for a dorm. Wow, I can have an Airbnb or whatever, like wherever place with that." And I'm like, "Damn, that's not my crowd."
Yeah, that's true. No, that's a good point.
But of course, there's like a lot of people on Airbnb that they're digital nomads, they're location independent, they're an entrepreneur that they don't know about co-living, that they will be able to discover if we were listed on Airbnb. So that's like a paradox. But I think there will be like more management and yeah, if we had a software to manage, that would be more helpful for that part. But I feel like when I'm here, I want more like the community. If it was more like a business that I will be, like away 6 months, a year, and always traveling, and it would be like just a financial transaction, I will live like pretty much everywhere. But just we have something that is more particular. Is people coming here, it's different than other destinations that they will, oh, I like it, I will stay a few months or whatever, like in Europe or in America. Here they will stay like few days or few weeks, then they will go to Vietnam, they will go to Thailand. Even if like a lot of people are deciding to move to Siem Reap, in general, it's a trend, really pass through, not pass through, but
like transient.
Yeah, transient destination. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Well, you probably speak. How many languages do you speak?
Just two. I don't speak Khmer. Like I just few words, maybe 30% the local language in Cambodian. So I understand like, yeah, maybe 30-40%, but I've been very like a bad expat from learning a lot. Yeah, it's a pity because it's like preventing from creating more relation. But the thing is, the people around me, and we're like in a touristic destination, they all speak like amazing English. Like the drivers in the street, they speak English, or they find a way, or we find a common way to communicate. So, and because I've been working and hustling a lot, I didn't like, after like 14, 16 hours of work, I have no space to learn a language. So, but I feel like it's a pity. I feel very guilty about it, to be honest.
Oh, you shouldn't. You're right. If you're working 14-hour days, you probably can't pick up a third language.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, awesome, Jeff. I really appreciate having you on. And my last question that I ask everybody is, where do you genuinely see the future of co-living? Where do you see it going?
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Okay. So, obviously what we're doing for co-living is more like commercial. It's less like I have a house and I share with people. It's more, we have amenities like / hotel. It's kind of hybrid in between. If you have the like community feeling, like homemade breakfast and everything. But at the same time, it's not a house that is shared with people, like with the same kitchen, like connected. For us, there's a separation. The kitchen, we have a staff. You can do yourself, but we have a staff, and the rooms are separated. So, and I think with co-living, more and more you will have like different type of co-living. Obviously, I think the original, the one is really like a shared house. You have your shared kitchen, you share like a communal space. Now it's becoming very commercial. Like you can like students' apartment that they can just be renamed co-living, because they used to have communal spaces in a way, areas. So it's kind of fitting co-living as well. So it's hard to define. But for me, in the future, what it could be is to have all those different flavors, and that and maybe the term co-living will be a bit clearer, I think. But for me, my vision is really that the work and life, and most people will find a balance. So you will have new type of buildings. Well, if you ask me to create one, I would love to. Like, I would have more. It would definitely be like a house with a co-working space, with a work area, and like most like shared resources. So you still have your privacy, but you're doing co-living, like multi-generation, multi-families, or whatever. I think there's like a few projects that they really tick all these boxes, that they're like really on the right trend. So to define precisely what my vision, it's hard to say in a few words, but it's it's hard to explain without an image. But I think that ICA, they had a plan to create a house that was kind of a really good fit with the co-living vision.
That's awesome. Well, perfect. Yes. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks, everyone.
Love it. And then we'll put all your contact information on the show notes.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks for the
bye,
opportunity.
Jeff.
Bye-bye.